Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Broken Brand. I'm your host, Stuart, and today we're going to take a quick look at one of Nintendo's most infamous anti-piracy cases. Back in 2020, Gary Bowser, ironic, the irony is just so palpable that it's just great that one of the people caught in an anti-piracy sting with the International Joint Task Force to shut down mod chips for Nintendo systems has the surname of Bowser. I love it. I can't tell you how awesome that is. It's great. But let's take a quick look at what this case is and what it means and what the possible implications are. So Gary Bowser is a middleman, to put it simply. Uh, he got started in repairing consoles and doing other things. He was a programmer, and later in the early aughts, he got involved with a team that was creating mod chips to allow people to play games, pirate Nintendo games, and get them for free through the web and things like that. And he didn't create the chips. He didn't actually sell them. He kind of got people connected to the people that were doing it. He was the middleman. So he actually didn't make anything anti-piracy, but Nintendo decided that they were going to make him the face of anti-piracy. And with a surname like Bowser, how could they not? I mean, that's just great. I'm never going to stop smiling and laughing about that coincidence. I just can't. So, Gary Bowser, he was arrested with a few others of Team Xecuter that were creating mod chips and other technologies to help bypass the legal purchase of Nintendo games and modifying Nintendo systems to allow pirated games to be played on their systems. So, with this, he was sentenced to 40 months in prison. He was just released, serving 14 months with good behavior. Uh, Bowser is in bad health. He's in his early 50s, and he is going to have to pay back Nintendo $14.5 million. That's a lot. I don't care who you are. $14.5 million is a lot of money. He's never going to pay it back. He's not. At his age and his health, and with his criminal record, it's hard for him to find work, and he's reaching out for government assistance because he's got health issues, can't afford issues, and in jail he was paying Nintendo $25 a month from his job within the prison system. So Nintendo worked out a deal that he has to pay 20 to 30% of his earnings after essentials such as rent, food, etc. Even at his current state, he could live to be close to 200 and probably never pay them back on his current income level with a few jobs. He it's just never going to happen, but Nintendo wanted to make a case to show that if you do pirate stuff from Nintendo, you will be caught and there will be consequences. This is one of the lawsuits I think Nintendo is on the right side of versus, like the PAL World thing that they may or may not get into. This is a legitimate grievance. I don't know if it cost Nintendo $14 million. I doubt it. Uh, from my understanding, on some of the forums and Reddit subthreads that I've read recently on this topic, most of them, those that do pirate, eventually end up purchasing a legitimate copy, but not all do. So I don't know if that number is accurate, but that was what was agreed upon in the court case. Bowser said he could have fought it because he actually didn't do anything that was anti piracy. He did anything to not anti piracy. He didn't do actually anything pirating. He was updating websites and connecting people that wanted the stuff illegally to the people that were making it. So that's kind of the gray area. He really wasn't a pirate. He was just the go-to guy to find out where to get it. And that's part of the piracy criminal system that, yeah, you say you may or not have done it, but you're involved and you're helping promote piracy, and that's not a good thing. Unless you're a big fan of One Piece, then it's just piracy is just a fun show to watch. I am not in favor of piracy. I don't agree with it. I do think that this case was really extreme in its result. Here's a man who is never going to be able to pay it back. Spent a short amount of time in jail, but because of it, uh, we have a look that Nintendo really does protect its property, and as well they should. And Bowser is going to literally be paying Nintendo for the rest of his life, and that's a consequence that he has to accept. And it's a hard thing to see that someone at his age and such bad health and very limited income has this massive debt he will never pay off. I feel for him in the fact that his consequences have put him in a bad spot. But this is the truth. I mean, you break the law, you have to pay. You know what they say: don't do the time, don't do the crime if you can't do the time. This is one of those things, and I'm not sure his intent was evil. His intent was, I don't know what his intent was, but based on the articles and things I've read about him, he was just doing something he loved, and even though it was illegal, he shouldn't have done it. But he is not he was not the real pirate. So we'll have to we'll have to see what happens with Gary Bowser in the future. I do hope for a resolution and restoration and better health for Bowser in the future. Uh, he's done his time and he has to pay his debt to Nintendo for his role in this piracy scheme. But there's you have to feel for him. Just he's in a bad situation, but I do think, you know, I don't want to think. I want to hope. I want to hope that he turns his life around now that he's out of prison, that he does things to help others. I don't know what his plans are, and I think that maybe he could pay this debt if he took it upon himself to maybe become the face of anti-piracy. He was formerly the face of piracy against Nintendo, but now that he's been caught, he's done his time to turn around and turn his life 180 and start speaking out against anti-piracy, start speaking to other people. Maybe he can generate income doing that way, speaking to technology conferences and things like, just because we can and do these things to see what we can do, that some of these steps and some of these things we do are a step too far, and as people and nerds in technology trying to push the boundaries, we should all of it everyone should stay within the law. We shouldn't try to harm the companies making these things. We shouldn't try to do things that would hurt a company financially or get anyone in legal trouble, period. But even promoting the idea of pirating games and systems and things like that. So I hope that he can find a way to turn his life around and pay off this debt, to become a redemptive story arc, as it were, of the piracy underground that exists in this world. So I will say this: uh, don't pirate anything. Do it the right way. If you can't afford a game, I know games aren't cheap. I've got a Switch. My kid's gonna be like, "Hey, I want this game." Let's wait a few months and see if we can get it on sale. I do that a lot. There's games I want, and I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna wait and see if I can get it on sale sometime. And Nintendo's not one of those game systems that puts a lot of their games on sale. It's a rare thing unless you get indie games that are made with the permission of Nintendo. And there are a lot of things that, like, oh, you can get some cheaper games, free games, digital games, but the physical games are a lot expensive, and they're hard to find in even secondary markets like GameStop resell, used games, and things like that. Because when you've paid like 60, $70 for a game, you're going to hold on to it for a while. You're not going to just be like, oh, I'm done, and pass it on. You're going to keep it because you're putting your hard-earned money into something. And so this case is a good example of why we should not promote or accept piracy. And we should realize that just because you can, you shouldn't. And there are consequences for breaking the law. So, Gary Bowser, I hope you find a redemptive life now that you're out of prison. And to everyone out there watching this video, as always, I love you all, and there's nothing you can do about it.